Rebecca's hands trembled as she pulled up the banking app, her ex-in-law's cruel laughter still ringing in her ears. Deadbeat mom, they had sneered at her daughter's birthday, not knowing that while they slept, she built an empire of side hustles that just hit 7 figures. The look on their faces when she silently turned her phone around was worth every sleepless night. Ever wondered what sweet revenge tastes like when you've been underestimated your entire life? Share your own comeback stories below. And subscribe now for more real-life tales that will make your heart race and your spirit soar. The room fell silent. Champagne glasses frozen midair. Her ex-father-in-law's face drained of color. Her daughter Emma squeezed her hand under the table, the only person who truly understood what this moment meant. Rebecca smiled. This wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming her story. 6 months after the divorce, Rebecca sat at her small apartment's kitchen table. Bills spread before her like a losing hand of cards. The transition from comfortable suburban life to single motherhood had been brutal. Her marketing job barely covered rent, let alone the mounting expenses for 9-year-old Emma. "Mom, can I go on the Science Museum trip next month?" Emma asked, sliding the permission slip across the table. Rebecca's stomach tightened as she saw the $350 fee. "Let me think about it, sweetheart." Later that night, after tucking Emma in, Rebecca returned to the slip. $350. Might as well have been $3,000. Her ex-husband David had stopped supplementing beyond the court-mandated minimum. His latest power play in their ongoing battle. She'd called him earlier that week about increasing child support. "You chose this," he'd said coldly. "Not my problem, you can't manage money." His family had always looked down on her, the middle-class girl who'd somehow snagged their golden boy. Now they barely disguised their satisfaction at her struggles. Rebecca crumpled the permission slip, then smoothed it out again, ashamed of her momentary weakness. Through the thin wall, she could hear Emma's gentle breathing in sleep. "I will figure this out," she whispered, a promise to both of them. She opened her laptop. Her marketing degree and 5 years at an agency had to be worth something beyond her soul-crushing corporate job. Local businesses were desperate for social media help. She saw it everywhere. Their sad, neglected Facebook pages and non-existent Instagram accounts. Rebecca created a simple website offering social media management services by 3 a.m. She priced herself low, painfully low, but it was a start. As dawn broke, she booked her first client consultation for her lunch break the next day. She had no idea if this would work, but Emma's science trip permission slip now sat prominently on the refrigerator, a tangible reminder of why failure wasn't an option. "We're going to be okay," Rebecca whispered to her sleeping daughter, kissing her forehead before preparing for another day at the job that was no longer enough. Rebecca walked into Sweet Crumb Bakery during her lunch break, nervously clutching her tablet with a hastily prepared presentation. The owner, Margot, was an older woman with flour-dusted hands who looked skeptically at Rebecca's professional attire. "5 minutes," Margot said. "That's all I can spare." Rebecca nodded, launching into her pitch. She'd noticed Sweet Crumb had virtually no online presence despite their incredible pastries. She showed Margot local competitors who were thriving with simple social media strategies. "I can increase your foot traffic by at least 30% in 3 months," Rebecca promised, surprised by her own confidence. "And what do you charge for this miracle?" Margot asked. Rebecca quoted her rock-bottom rate, $200 monthly, far less than agencies would charge. "That's still $200. I don't have to gamble." Margot sighed. Rebecca made a snap decision. "I'll do the first month free. If you don't see results, we part ways. No hard feelings." Margot studied her. "Why are you doing this?" Rebecca hesitated. "I need to build a portfolio. And my daughter wants to go on a school trip I can't afford." Something in Margot's expression softened. "Fine, but I expect miracles for that school trip money." That night, after Emma went to bed, Rebecca began working. She photographed Sweet Crumb's bestsellers, created eye-catching graphics, and developed a content calendar. She researched hashtags and local influencers, scheduling posts for maximum engagement. For 3 weeks, she worked her day job, cared for Emma, and built Sweet Crumb's online presence during stolen hours between midnight and dawn. She averaged 4 hours of sleep, surviving on coffee and determination. 20-6 days later, Margot called. "There's a line out the door," she said, wonder in her voice. "Someone shared that strawberry tart post. and now everyone wants them. Rebecca's strawberry tart post had reached 30,000 people, astronomical for a neighborhood bakery. We sold out by noon, Margot continued. When can you come in? We need to talk about next month. Rebecca's first real client paid $350, exactly enough for Emma's science trip. She cried when she submitted the payment, a small victory that felt enormous. Within weeks, 3 more local businesses approached her. Word was spreading. Rebecca created a simple spreadsheet to track income and hours. The math was both encouraging and terrifying. She could potentially match her day job salary, but only by working impossible hours. Still, watching Emma board the science trip bus, waving excitedly, Rebecca knew she would find a way. This was just the beginning. Rebecca's alarm blared at 5 a.m. She groaned, fumbling to silence it before it woke Emma. 4 hours of sleep again. She'd worked until 1 a.m. on content calendars for her 6 clients, each paying between $350 to $500 monthly. Not enough to quit her day job, but enough to breathe a little easier. She showered quickly, prepped Emma's lunch, and woke her daughter at 6:30. By 7:45, she'd dropped Emma at school and was commuting to her marketing coordinator position, using voice memos to draft social posts for her clients. Her coworkers thought she was dedicated to their campaigns. In reality, her mind constantly balanced to work lives. At lunch, she'd duck out for client calls. Between meetings, she'd respond to urgent client messages. After work, she'd rush to pick up Emma, help with homework, cook dinner, handle bedtime, and then start her real workday at 9 p.m. Weekends weren't weekends anymore. They were catching up on laundry while answering client emails, scheduling content while helping with Emma's projects, and trying not to resent David for his Instagram posts showing boat trips and vacations with his new girlfriend, Vanessa. "Mom, are you coming to my choir performance next Thursday?" Emma asked one morning. Rebecca's stomach dropped. Thursday was her presentation for the company's biggest client. Missing it would damage her already precarious standing. She'd been late 3 times that month due to school drop-offs. "I'll try my absolute best," she promised, already knowing she'd fail. She didn't make it. Instead, while presenting marketing projections to executives, her phone silently accumulated texts from Emma. "Where are you? It's starting soon. Dad and Vanessa are here." We're done no later that night. Emma was quiet. "I'm so sorry about your performance, sweetie," Rebecca said, guilt crushing her. "It's okay," Emma shrugged. "Vanessa recorded it for you." Rebecca smiled tightly, thanking Vanessa in her head, while simultaneously hating her perfectly manicured existence. The woman had boundless time for Emma while Rebecca scrambled for minutes. The next week brought Emma's parent-teacher conference. Rebecca rearranged 3 client meetings to attend, only to find herself seated beside David and Vanessa. "We thought it would be helpful if we all heard together," David explained smoothly, while Vanessa smiled sympathetically. Mrs. Chen praised Emma's academics, but mentioned she seemed withdrawn lately. "She mentioned missing some activities with you, Rebecca." David exchanged meaningful glances with Vanessa. In the parking lot afterward, Rebecca sobbed in her car, allowing herself exactly 5 minutes of breakdown before composing herself to meet a new potential client. That night, she stayed up until 3 a.m. Her client work interspersed with searching for how to be in 2 places at once, and single mom guilt. The irony wasn't lost on her. She was working herself to exhaustion to create a better life for Emma, yet missing the life they currently had together. 3 months into her side hustle, Rebecca's work for Sweet Crumb Bakery caught fire. Her strategy of featuring customers' stories alongside Margot's creations resonated deeply. A post about a couple who'd met over Margot's cinnamon rolls and later served them at their wedding went viral locally. Then a food blogger with 500,000 followers shared one of Rebecca's posts. By noon, Sweet Crumb had a line around the block. By evening, they'd been featured on a local news segment. Rebecca's phone exploded with notifications. Margot called, laughing and crying simultaneously. "We sold out by noon." "I've never in 30 years, Rebecca. What did you do?" Within days, 4 more businesses contacted her, then 8 more. Then a local restaurant association. Rebecca found herself in her apartment bathroom during lunch break, hyperventilating. She now had potential clients willing to pay triple her current rates. If she took them all, she could potentially replace her corporate salary. The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. Quitting meant no safety net, no benefits, no guaranteed income, but it also meant freedom from her increasingly hostile workplace. where her divided attention was becoming noticeable. That evening, Emma found Rebecca asleep at her computer, drool pooling on her keyboard. Her daughter gently shook her awake. "Mom, you're working too hard," Emma said, eyes concerned beyond her years. Rebecca wiped her mouth, embarrassed. "Just a little tired, sweetie. You're always tired." Emma sat beside her. "Is it because of money? Dad says." "What does Dad say?" Rebecca asked, suddenly alert. Emma looked down. "That you're struggling to keep up with bills. That's why you're always working." Rebecca closed her laptop. "Emma, look at me. We are not struggling. I'm building something. Something that's ours, alone. But why do you have to work all the time?" Rebecca had no good answer. The truth was, she'd fallen into the same trap many entrepreneurs do, taking every opportunity without strategy. More clients meant more money, but without systems, it also meant more hours. That night, after Emma went to bed, Rebecca made a decision. She created 2 lists: what she could afford to lose and what she couldn't. Her corporate job fell into the first category. Emma's childhood moments fell firmly in the second. The next morning, she gave 2 weeks' notice. Her boss seemed almost relieved. "To be honest, Rebecca, your performance has slipped considerably. Where are you going?" "I'm working for myself now," she replied, the words both terrifying and liberating. That weekend, she took Emma to the park. No laptop, no phone calls, just presence. As Emma played, Rebecca sketched out a business plan on a notepad. She needed to work smarter, not just harder. What if she could package her knowledge, scale beyond trading hours for dollars? The seed of her second hustle began to form. Even as she watched Emma finally smiling again, 2 months into full-time self-employment, Rebecca noticed a pattern in her client consultations. Everyone asked the same questions. How do you find the right hashtags? What time should we post? How do we respond to negative comments? She was repeating herself constantly, spending hours explaining the same concepts. Late one night, after answering yet another email about content planning, Rebecca had a revelation. What if she could answer these questions once, package the information, and sell it repeatedly? The idea of an online course took root. She could teach small businesses how to manage their own social media, not replacing her services but creating an entry point for those who couldn't afford her. Rebecca spent a week researching course platforms. She had no budget for expensive equipment, so she watched countless YouTube tutorials on creating professional content with just a smartphone and free editing software. Her apartment's walk-in closet became a makeshift recording studio, pinned to walls for sound dampening, a desk lamp for lighting, and her phone propped on a stack of books. Emma found this setup hilarious. "You look like you're making ransom videos, Mom." Rebecca recorded her first module after Emma's bedtime. She stumbled over words, deleted hours of footage, and battled imposter syndrome with each take. Who was she to teach others? But her client results spoke for themselves. The bakery's revenue had doubled. A local boutique had expanded to a second location, all through her strategies. After 3 grueling weeks, her course Social Media Simplified, Local Business Edition was ready. She priced it at $197, accessible yet valuable. Launch day arrived. Rebecca had created an email list from her website inquiries and sent out the announcement. Then she waited, checking her phone every few minutes. Nothing. By evening, she'd made exactly 0 sales. Tears threatened as she prepared Emma's dinner. "Did your course thing work?" Emma asked, sensing her mother's mood. "Not yet, sweetie. These things take time," Rebecca said, trying to convince herself. That night, she went back to the drawing board. The course was solid, but her launch strategy was flawed. She needed proof of concept. She offered 5 former consultation clients free access in exchange for testimonials. All 5 accepted eagerly. Their feedback was glowing, with specific results: increased engagement by 40%, 5 new customers in 1 week. Finally understand what works for our audience. Rebecca relaunched, with these testimonials prominently featured. This time, she hosted a free webinar demonstrating her expertise. With the course offered at the end, her phone pinged during dinner. A sale, then another. By bedtime, she'd sold 12 courses, $2,364 in revenue for content she'd created once. The next morning brought a technical disaster. 3 customers couldn't access their materials. Rebecca spent hours troubleshooting, anxiety mounting with each complaint email. By afternoon, She'd fixed the issues and added detailed access instructions. Sales continued steadily. 1 week post-launch, her course had generated $8,369, money that didn't require her ongoing time. Money that came while she slept. Money that meant she could be present for Emma's upcoming school play. Hustle number 2 was officially born. Rebecca was reviewing course analytics when her phone rang. David's name on the screen still triggered an automatic tension in her shoulders. "We need to talk about Emma," he said without preamble. "Is she okay?" Rebecca's mind immediately jumped to worst-case scenarios. "She mentioned you're working from home now. Something about social media." Rebecca bristled at his dismissive tone. "I run a digital marketing business. I have 12 clients and just launched a successful online course. So you quit your stable job." It wasn't a question. "With benefits, for Instagram, for financial independence," Rebecca corrected. "I'm making more than I did at Meridian." A pause. "Emma says you're always busy, that you miss events." The accusation stung because it contained truth. She had missed some school functions during the transition period, but things were improving. "I've restructured my schedule. I attended her science fair last week, which you missed, by the way, because I was in Seattle on business, not playing entrepreneur," David snapped. "Rebecca, I'm concerned about stability. Emma needs consistency, not a mother gambling with their security." The conversation spiraled from there. David mentioned revisiting custody arrangements and more structured environments. Words like court and primary residence pierced Rebecca like physical blows. After hanging up, she sat paralyzed. David's family had connections, money for expensive lawyers. What if they painted her as unstable? Would a judge understand her business model, or see her as David portrayed her, a flaky mother who abandoned security for a risky venture? That evening, Rebecca sat Emma down for an honest conversation. "Honey, are you happy with our life right now? With me working from home?" Emma considered the question with the seriousness only children can muster. "I like that you're here when I get home from school now, but sometimes you're still busy. And when you stay with Dad, he's not really there much. Vanessa is nice though." Emma paused. "Dad said I might stay with them more. Is that true?" Rebecca's heart clenched. "Would you want that?" Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I want to stay with you. This is my home." That night, Rebecca made calls, 2-3 lawyers, eventually securing a consultation with a family law attorney for the following day. The $500 consultation fee would have been impossible 3 months ago. Now, she transferred it from her business account without panic. The lawyer, Ms. Winters, was refreshingly direct. "Your ex-husband would need to prove a significant change in circumstances detrimental to Emma's welfare. Your self-employment isn't that, especially if you're financially stable and available to Emma." "How do I prove that?" Rebecca asked. "Documentation, income statements, Emma's school attendance and performance, demonstration of routine and stability." Ms. Winters leaned forward. "But mostly, be prepared for the long game. If he files, it won't be resolved quickly." Rebecca left with a retainer agreement and a strange sense of calm. Her business wasn't just about financial independence anymore, it was about fighting for her daughter. That evening, she started meticulously documenting everything: her income, Emma's activities, their daily routine. She would not be caught unprepared. With the custody threat looming, Rebecca analyzed her business model with new urgency. She needed more income stability and less time investment. Her current approach, client services plus course sales, was working, but still required constant content creation and management. During a client call, she recommended software for scheduling social media posts. The client asked if she received commissions for referrals. "No," Rebecca answered, then paused. "Why? Do they offer that?" "Most software companies do. My last consultant earned thousands monthly just from tool recommendations." That night, Rebecca researched affiliate marketing earning commissions by recommending products she already used. She compiled a list of every tool she suggested to clients: social media schedulers, graphic design platforms, email marketing services, analytics, tools. She'd applied to their affiliate programs, receiving acceptance emails throughout the next week. Commission rates ranged from 20% to 40%, significant income potential from recommenders she was already making. Rebecca created a resources page on her website, writing honest reviews of each tool based on her professional experience. She included her affiliate links with transparent disclosure for her course students. She developed a Tools of the Trade bonus module, highlighting how each platform solved specific problems for small businesses, again, with clear affiliate disclosures. Then she waited. The first commission notification came 3 days later. A course student had purchased an annual subscription to a scheduling tool, $479.88. Rebecca's 30% commission, $143.96. More notifications followed as clients and students implemented her Unlike her course, which had a finite customer base, these commissions would recur annually as subscriptions renewed. Rebecca created a spreadsheet to track income streams, client services, $8,500 month course sales, $3,200 per month average affiliate commissions, $2,750 month growing. Her monthly income had surpassed $14,000, nearly triple her former salary. Yet she still drove the same old Honda and lived in their modest apartment. Every extra dollar went into savings, investments, and Emma's college fund. This stealth wealth strategy wasn't just about security, it was defensive. If David pursued custody, she wanted no obvious lifestyle changes he could use against her. The first real test came when Emma's teacher emailed about a $1,200 summer STEM program. Rebecca immediately transferred the money from her business account, then forwarded the receipt to David with a brief note. "I've covered this." Emma's excited. His response came hours later. "I would have paid half." Rebecca smiled. He'd expected her to ask for money. The subtle shift in their dynamic was worth more than the $600 she could have requested. When David picked up Emma that weekend, Rebecca noticed his appraising glance around her apartment, likely looking for signs of financial struggle. He found none. The apartment was modest, but well maintained, and Emma had everything she needed. "Business going okay?" he asked casually. "It's sustainable," Rebecca replied, deliberately vague. That night, she received an unexpected email from a major business publication requesting an interview about social media strategies for local businesses. Her website analytics showed the referral source. One of her clients had mentioned her in their success story. As Rebecca prepared for the interview, she made a conscious decision. This was an opportunity for professional credibility, not income disclosure. She would discuss strategies and results, but keep her financial success private. The stealth wealth approach was working. Let David and his family underestimate her. The bank balances told the true story. The business publication interview changed everything. Within days of publication, Rebecca received 17 emails from business owners outside her local market. They weren't looking for basic social media management, they wanted her strategic guidance. "I read your interview," wrote the owner of a boutique chain with 6 locations. "We've tried 3 marketing agencies with disappointing results. Would you consider consulting on our strategy? Happy to pay your premium rates." Premium rates. Rebecca stared at those words. She'd been undercharging, afraid to price herself at her true value. After researching industry standards, she created a high-ticket consulting package, $2,500 for a comprehensive social media audit and strategy session, followed by optional monthly strategy calls at $750 each. She sent the proposal to the boutique owner, holding her breath. The response came within hours. "Proposal accepted. When can we start?" Rebecca sat back, stunned. She'd just made more from one client than her first month of hustling with 6. The realization was both empowering and sobering. How much had she left on the table by undervaluing herself? The boutique consultation went exceptionally well. Rebecca delivered actionable strategies tailored to their specific audience and goals. 2 weeks later, they signed up for ongoing monthly calls. "You've given us more direction in 1 session than our last agency did in 6 months," the owner said. Word spread. A local business association invited Rebecca to speak at their monthly meeting. Standing before 30 business owners, she shared case studies from her work with Sweetcrumb, Bafree and others, breaking down exactly how her strategies translated to revenue. Afterward, 7 people requested her consulting services. She had to start a waiting list. Emma noticed the change in her mother's schedule. Rebecca now blocked specific hours for high-value work, leaving afternoons free when Emma returned from school. "Are you still working, Mom?" Emma asked one day, finding Rebecca reading instead of on her laptop. "I am working," Rebecca smiled, "just differently. I'm helping fewer businesses, but in more valuable ways." Emma nodded sagely. "Like quality over quantity." "Exactly. And it means more time with you." That weekend, Emma proudly told her teacher about her mother's business during a chance encounter at the grocery store. "My mom helps businesses tell their stories," Emma explained. "She's really good at it. People pay her a lot to learn how she does it." The teacher smiled at Rebecca. "Emma talks about your work often. She's very proud of you." The third income stream, high-ticket consulting, stabilized Rebecca's business model completely. Unlike client management, which required ongoing time investment, or course sales, which fluctuated monthly, consulting provided substantial income for focused blocks of her expertise. Her monthly income now exceeded $20,000, with less time worked than when she'd earned a third of that. The significance wasn't lost on her. She'd discovered the entrepreneurial holy grail of separating time from money. More importantly, she'd regained precious hours with Emma. They cooked dinner together, worked on homework side by side, and even started weekend hiking trips, activities impossible during the grueling early days. Rebecca's business had evolved from desperate side hustle to strategic enterprise, and not a single person in her personal life, aside from Emma, had any idea. Rebecca's bank accounts told a story no one else could see: six-figure balances that grew steadily each month, investment portfolios beginning to compound, and a college fund that would easily cover Emma's education at any university she chose. Yet, Rebecca deliberately maintained the appearance of modest means. She still lived in the same two-bedroom apartment, still drove her 8-year-old Honda, still bought clothes on sale, and used coupons for groceries. This wasn't about deprivation, it was strategic. Rebecca had made a deliberate decision to build wealth quietly, away from the judgment and expectations of others, especially David and his family. "Do you think we should move to a bigger place?" Emma asked one evening as they squeezed past each other in their small kitchen. Rebecca considered the question carefully. "Would you like that?" Emma shrugged. "Dad's house is really big, but I like that we're close to the park here." "We could move," Rebecca acknowledged. "But right now, I'm focusing on saving for our future." Sometimes the smartest choice isn't the most obvious one. What Rebecca didn't say was that every dollar not spent on higher rent was being strategically invested. She'd hired a financial advisor, Sarah, who had been shocked by Rebecca's income and savings rate. Most new entrepreneurs reinvest everything in their business or upgrade their lifestyle immediately, Sarah observed during their first meeting. "You're doing neither." "I have different priorities," Rebecca explained. "Financial independence and security for my daughter." Sarah helped Rebecca develop a comprehensive financial plan, maxing out retirement accounts, establishing an emergency fund covering 1 year of expenses, creating a diversified investment portfolio, and setting up trusts for Emma's future. "You're on track to reach financial independence in approximately 7 years, Sarah noted. "Possibly sooner if your business continues growing at this rate." Financial independence, the ability to live off investment returns without working, had become Rebecca's North Star. Not because she wanted to stop working, but because she wanted complete freedom of choice. The stark contrast between her financial reality and others' perception became apparent during a parent association meeting. The topic turned to fundraising for new playground equipment. "We need about $15,000, the president explained. "That's only $300 per family, if everyone contributes." Several parents groaned about the expense. Rebecca said nothing, though she could have funded the entire project herself. Instead, she volunteered to create the online fundraising campaign, leveraging her marketing skills. David continued sending the bare minimum in child support, clearly believing Rebecca was barely managing. She never corrected this assumption, quietly transferring his payments directly into Emma's college fund. Her ex-in-laws were more overt in their judgment. When Emma mentioned her mother was working during their monthly Sunday dinner at their house, Rebecca overheard her former mother-in-law's response. "Your poor mother is trying her best with that little internet business. Thank goodness your father can provide stability." Rebecca bit her tongue. Knowing the truth, her little internet business had generated more last month than David's annual bonus. Home that night, Rebecca reviewed her financial dashboard. Her net worth had officially crossed $500,000, a milestone that felt surreal considering where she'd started just 18 months earlier. She closed her laptop without telling a soul. This was her secret strength, her silent victory, and no one needed to know but her. The science fair email arrived 3 days before the event. Emma had been working on her project for Wixa, sophisticated demonstration of water filtration systems that Rebecca had helped her research, but Emma had built entirely herself. Rebecca immediately blocked the afternoon on her calendar. Nothing would prevent her from attending this time. Then, disaster struck. Her largest consulting client experienced a social media crisis. A disgruntled employee had posted damaging allegations that were gaining traction. They needed emergency strategy and response immediately. "I understand this is urgent, but I have a commitment Thursday afternoon," Rebecca explained on the crisis call. "I can work with you until 2 p.m., then again after 5 p.m. This is potentially millions in damage," the CEO responded tersely. "We need you on site for the entire response period." Rebecca attempted to negotiate, offering to join remotely during the science fair, but the client was insistent. The unspoken message was clear: accommodate us or lose the account. With a sickening feeling, Rebecca called Emma's school, leaving a message for her daughter. The science fair was during school hours, so she couldn't speak with Emma directly. Thursday afternoon, while guiding her client through the crisis response, Rebecca's phone lit up with texts from Emma. "Mom, where are you? My presentation is in 15 minutes. Dad's not coming either. He's in Comstitz. Wilson said I did great even though nobody came." Each message felt like a physical blow. Rebecca texted back between strategy sessions, apologizing profusely, promising to have Emma demonstrate her project at home. By 7 p.m., the crisis was contained. Rebecca thanked the team, closed her laptop, and rushed home, stopping to buy Emma's favorite ice cream as a poor substitute for her presence. The apartment was quiet when she arrived. Emma sat at the kitchen table, homework spread before her, her science project nowhere in sight. "I'm so sorry, sweetie," Rebecca began. "It's fine," Emma responded, not looking up. "It's not fine. I promised I'd be there, and I wasn't. Dad wasn't either." Emma's voice was flat. Nobody came. The words hung in the air between them. Rebecca felt something crack inside her chest. "Can I see your project now?" Emma shrugged. "I already took it apart. Ms. Wilson took pictures though." She pulled out her phone, showing Rebecca images of a beaming Emma beside her carefully constructed filtration system. "You look so proud," Rebecca whispered. "I was," Emma replied, putting the phone away. "I got first place. First place." And neither parent had been there to witness it. Later, after Emma went to bed, Rebecca sat alone in their darkened living room. Her client had already sent an effusive email thanking her for saving them from a PR disaster, along with a substantial bonus payment. The money meant nothing compared to what she'd lost today. Rebecca opened her laptop at 3 a.m., possessed by clarity and purpose. For hours, she restructured her entire business model. She created detailed processes for every recurring task. She drafted job descriptions for 3 positions: administrative assistant, content manager, and client liaison. By morning, she had a complete business restructuring plan. She would need to invest a significant portion of her savings to build a team, but the return would be immeasurable: her time and presence back. When Emma emerged for breakfast, Rebecca had made a decision. "I missed something important yesterday," she said, "and I'm making changes to ensure that never happens again." Emma looked skeptical. "What kind of changes?" "I'm hiring people to help me," Rebecca explained. "Because no client is more important than you." Rebecca's first hire was Zoe, a recent marketing graduate who handled administrative tasks and basic client communication. The second was Marcus, an experienced content creator, who took over the day-to-day social media management. The third was Priya, a strategic thinker who could lead client consultations when Rebecca needed to be elsewhere. Each hire required careful training. Rebecca documented every process, created detailed guidelines, and spent weeks ensuring her team understood not just what to do, but why each task mattered. "The goal isn't to make yourselves replaceable," she explained during their first team meeting. "It's to make me replaceable for everything, except the highest level strategy." The transition wasn't smooth. Clients accustomed to working directly with Rebecca pushed back initially. Some team members made mistakes that required Rebecca's intervention. The business's profit margin temporarily decreased with the additional payroll, but slowly, systematically, Rebecca built a business that could function without her constant presence. She established clear boundaries: no client emergencies during Emma's events, no work on Sunday family days, no meetings during school pickup hours. 3 months after implementing her new structure, Rebecca surprised Emma with news. How would you feel about going to the beach for a long weekend? Just you and me. Emma looked up from her homework, suspicious. Don't you have to work? Nope, the team has everything covered. Emma's expression was skeptical. Really? No laptop, no phone calls. Well, I'll bring my phone for emergencies, but no work calls, Rebecca promised. This is our time. They drove to a small coastal town 3 hours away, checking into an oceanfront hotel, a small splurge from Rebecca's growing discretionary fund. For 3 days, they built sandcastles, hunted for shells, and ate ice cream for dinner. On their second evening, walking along the shore at sunset, Emma asked the question Rebecca had been waiting for. Mom, how come you can take time off now? Before you were always working. Rebecca considered how to explain complex business concepts to a 10-year-old. Remember when we baked cookies for your class party? How it took forever because we had to mix each batch by hand? Emma nodded. Then Grandma gave us that stand mixer for Christmas, and suddenly we could make cookies so much faster. Yeah, we made like 100 cookies in one afternoon. My business is like that now, Rebecca explained. I built a mixer system that works without me having to do everything myself. I still design the recipes and check the results, but I don't have to mix every batch by hand anymore. Emma thought about this. So your team is like your mixer. Exactly. And the instructions I created are like recipes they can follow, even when I'm not there. Emma seemed satisfied with this explanation. She skipped ahead, chasing seagulls along the waterline. When they returned home, Rebecca faced the true test of her systems, a full email inbox, and several client situations that had arisen during her absence. To her surprise and relief, her team had handled nearly everything. The few items requiring her attention were truly strategic decisions that only she could make. That evening, Rebecca received an unexpected call from Emma's teacher. I just wanted to let you know that Emma shared about your beach trip during Shawan today, Ms. Wilson said. She was so excited, telling everyone about the biggest shell collection ever and how you had no meetings the whole weekend. Rebecca laughed. It was a big deal for both of us. She also said something interesting. The teacher continued. She said you built a cookie mixer for your business. I wasn't quite sure what that meant, but she seemed very proud. After hanging up, Rebecca smiled. Emma understood more than she'd realized. She had indeed built a business machine, one that served their life, rather than consuming it. The notification from her accounting software arrived on a Tuesday evening. Congratulations, your business has surpassed $1 million in annual revenue. Rebecca stared at her screen, a strange numbness spreading through her body. $1 million, the milestone entrepreneurs dream about, write books about, build their identities around, and she had no one to tell. Emma was already asleep. Her team knew the company's general financial health, but not the specific numbers. Her friends from before the divorce had gradually drifted away during her intense building phase. Rebecca poured herself a small glass of champagne she'd been saving for a special occasion. She sat on her small balcony, looking out at the ordinary apartment complex view, parked cars, a small playground, other units identical to hers. From the outside, nothing about her life suggested the achievement she'd just reached. No luxury car in the parking lot, no designer clothes in her closet, no expensive jewelry adorning her wrists. Just a single mother in modest surroundings who had built something extraordinary in secret. Rebecca scrolled through her phone, wondering who she could call. Her own parents had passed years ago. Her brother lived overseas and wouldn't understand the significance. David would either not believe her or try to use the information against her in some way. The realization was both powerful and lonely. This victory was hers alone. Later that night, unable to sleep, Rebecca opened her financial tracking spreadsheet. Beyond the business revenue, her personal net worth had grown substantially. Between her investment accounts, Emma's college fund, and her retirement savings, she had accumulated over $700,000 in less than 2 years. At this rate, she would reach her financial independence goal years ahead of schedule. Rebecca created a new document titled Life Options. In it, she listed possibilities that had once seemed like fantasy but were now within reach: buying a house outright, no mortgage, taking a sabbatical year to travel with Emma, starting a foundation to help single mothers build businesses, funding entrepreneurship programs at Emma's school for the first time. Rebecca allowed herself to imagine a future unbounded by financial constraints, not to spend frivolously, but to create impact and meaning on her own terms. She was still contemplating these possibilities when Emma's alarm went off the next morning. Rebecca closed her laptop and started breakfast, saying nothing about the milestone as she packed Emma's lunch. "You look happy today," Emma observed, munching her cereal. "Do I?" Rebecca smiled. "I guess I am. Did something good happen?" Bafta considered how to answer. "I reached a goal I've been working toward for a long time." "What kind of goal?" "A business goal," Rebecca said. "Something I wasn't sure was possible when I started." Emma nodded seriously. "That's cool, Mom. I'm reaching goals too. I can do the monkey bars all the way across now." Rebecca laughed. "That's definitely worth celebrating. How about ice cream after school?" As they walked to the car for school drop, Rebecca realized something important. The $1 million milestone, while significant professionally, wasn't actually what mattered most. The true achievement was the life she'd built alongside the business, one where she could be present for monkey bar victories and ice cream celebrations. She would continue her stealth wealth approach, building security and opportunity without fanfare. The business would keep growing, the investments compounding, all quietly creating a foundation for whatever future she and Emma chose to create. For now, that was victory enough. The call from David came on a Wednesday afternoon, interrupting Rebecca's strategy session with her team. Seeing his name, she excused herself to take it privately. "Rebecca," his voice sounded strained, "I need to talk to you about the child support payments." She tensed immediately. "Is there a problem?" "I've been laid off. Budget cuts across the entire division." The words came reluctantly. "I'm asking for a temporary reduction until I find something new." Rebecca sat with this information. The monthly payments, while helpful, represented less than 5% of her current income. She could easily absorb the loss. "How long do you anticipate being unemployed?" she asked. "The job market is tight. 3 months, maybe 6. He paused. "I've already liquidated some investments, but with the mortgage and Vanessa not working. The implication was clear. Their lifestyle was expensive, and he was struggling to maintain it. "I understand," Rebecca said simply. "We can pause the payments for 3 months, then reassess." David's relief was audible. "Thank you. I'll make it up when things turn around." After they hung up, Rebecca considered how dramatically their positions had reversed. 2 years ago, she had been the financially vulnerable one. Now she was the stable provider, cushioned by multiple income streams and substantial savings. The next weekend, when David picked up Emma, Rebecca noticed subtle changes. His usually immaculate appearance was slightly disheveled. The luxury watch was missing from his wrist. The new SUV had been replaced by his older sedan. "Nice car," Rebecca commented, nodding toward the vehicle she remembered from their marriage. "Just being practical," he replied with forced casualness. "The other one was a gas guzzler." Emma emerged from the apartment, running to hug her father. As they chatted, Rebecca caught David looking at her with an unfamiliar expression. Between curiosity and reassessment, the following week, she received a text that made her stomach clench. "We should talk about our situation. Dinner next week. Just us." Rebecca stared at the message, immediately understanding his intent. With his financial security threatened, David was reconsidering their relationship. The realization brought neither satisfaction nor clarity about how transactional his view of relationships truly was. "There's nothing to discuss about our situation. It ended 2 years ago. I'm happy to meet regarding Emma's needs only." His response came hours later. "You've changed," Rebecca smiled. At the 3-word text, yes, she had changed in ways David couldn't begin to comprehend. The desperate woman counting pennies at the kitchen table no longer existed. In her place stood someone who had built security and confidence entirely on her own terms. When Emma returned from her weekend visit, she seemed troubled. "Dad asked a lot of questions about you," she reported, sprawling on the couch. "What kind of questions?" "If you're dating anyone. If you talk about him. If you seem happy." Emma wrinkled her nose. "It was weird." "What did you tell him?" "That you're busy with your business and hanging out with me." Emma studied her mother. "He and Vanessa were fighting. She went to her sister's house." Rebecca kept her expression neutral. "I'm sorry to hear that. Changes can be stressful for everyone. Are you going to get back together with Dad?" Emma asked suddenly. "No, sweetie, we're not." Rebecca sat beside her daughter. "Some relationships aren't meant to last forever, but they give us important things like you." Emma nodded thoughtfully. "Good. I like our life how it is now." Rebecca hugged her daughter, grateful for the wisdom children sometimes possessed. Their life wasn't perfect, but it was authentic, built on their terms rather than someone else's expectations. David's attempt at reconciliation wasn't about love, it was about convenience and security. Rebecca had worked too hard building both for herself to step backward now. The embossed invitation arrived by Milan, unusual in itself, as most communications came digitally these days. Rebecca recognized her former mother-in-law's stationery immediately. Heavy cream cardstock with the family's monogrammed letterhead, a celebration for Emma's 11th birthday, it announced, in elegant calligraphy. Sunday, June 12, 2 p.m., the Hamilton residence. Rebecca frowned. Emma's birthday was indeed approaching, but they had already planned a small party with her school friends at the local trampoline park. This competing invitation hadn't been discussed with her. Emma, Rebecca called. Did you know about a birthday party at Grandma Hamilton's? Emma appeared from her bedroom, expression immediately guilty. Kind of. Grandma mentioned it when I was at Dad's last weekend. I forgot to tell you. And the trampoline party we planned. Can't we do both? Emma asked hopefully. The friend party on Saturday and the family one on Sunday. Rebecca hesitated. She hadn't set foot in the Hamilton home since before the divorce. Their few interactions since had been coolly polite at best, openly disdainful at worst. The thought of spending hours there, being subtly belittled, made her stomach clench. I'm not sure I'm invited, Rebecca said carefully. Emma produced a second envelope from her backpack. Grandma gave me this for you. She said it's important you come because it's a family celebration. The matching envelope contained a personal note from Catherine Hamilton. Rebecca, we hope you'll join us for Emma's birthday celebration. David has shared news of his current situation, and we feel it's important to show Emma that family supports each other through challenges. Your presence would mean a great deal to Emma and to us. Catherine, Rebecca read between the lines. This wasn't about family unity, it was about presenting a united front during David's financial difficulties. The Hamiltons were masters of image management, always concerned with how situations appeared to others. Mom, Emma's voice broke through her thoughts. Will you come? Rebecca looked at her daughter's hopeful expression and knew her answer regardless of her personal feelings. Of course, I'll come to your birthday. Over the next week, Rebecca debated what to wear, what gift to bring, how to interact with the Hamiltons. This would be the first time she'd seen many of them since the divorce was finalized. The night before the party, Emma crawled into Rebecca's bed, something she rarely did anymore. I'm nervous about tomorrow, she admitted. The party, why? Sweetie, Dad and Grandma are being weird. They keep saying it's important that everyone sees we're still a family. Emma picked at a loose thread on the comforter. But we're not, are we? Not like before. Rebecca chose her words carefully. We're still your family, all of us. Love you. But you're right, it's different now. And that's okay. Grandma said something about Dad's temporary setback and how appearances matter. Rebecca felt a flash of anger at the Hamiltons for burdening Emma with adult concerns. You don't need to worry about adult problems. Your only job tomorrow is to enjoy your birthday. As they drove to the Hamilton estate the next day, Rebecca mentally rehearsed polite but firm responses to potential provocations. She'd selected a simple but elegant dress, nothing flashy, but quality that spoke for itself. Her gift for Emma was thoughtful rather than extravagant, a telescope she'd mentioned wanting, accompanied by a star-naming certificate for Emma's star. Remember, Rebecca told Emma as they approached the imposing house, this is your day. If anything makes you uncomfortable, just give me our signal and we can leave. Emma nodded, squeezing her mother's hand. Thanks for coming, Mom. I know it's weird. Not weird at all, Rebecca assured her. There's nowhere I'd rather be on your birthday. They walked up the sweeping driveway together, Rebecca taking deep breaths to center herself. Whatever happened inside, she would remain composed and dignified. She had nothing to prove and everything to protect. The Hamilton home was exactly as Rebecca remembered, immaculately decorated, intimidatingly formal, and cold, despite the summer heat. Catherine Hamilton greeted them at the door, embracing Emma warmly before offering Rebecca a stiff nod. So glad you could join us, she said, her tone suggesting the opposite. Inside, about 20 people milled around David's extended family, a few family friends, and David himself. looking uncomfortable. In the corner, with a drink, Vanessa was notably absent. That Emma was immediately whisked away by cousins, leaving Rebecca alone. She found a quiet spot near the windows, observing the dynamics. Several people glanced her way but seemed unsure whether to approach. Rebecca. David appeared beside her, drink in hand. Thanks for coming. It means a lot to Emma, of course. It's her birthday. Rebecca kept her tone neutral. Is Vanessa here? David shifted uncomfortably. We're taking some time apart. Before Rebecca could respond, Catherine clinked a glass. For attention. Before we bring out Emma's cake, I'd like to say a few words. The room quieted as Catherine launched into a speech about family unity and supporting each other through challenges. Her pointed glances toward David made the subtext clear. The family was closing ranks around him during his financial difficulties, and, while some changes have been difficult, Catherine continued, we're grateful that we can come together for important occasions. Rebecca felt eyes on Hertha, divorced outsider they'd reluctantly included. She maintained a pleasant expression, refusing to show discomfort. After the cake and presents, the atmosphere relaxed slightly. Rebecca was helping Emma organize her gifts when she overheard Catherine speaking to her sister in the adjacent room. Such a shame about David's situation. At least he had the sense to marry someone with family resources the first time, even if she wasn't quite our sort. This deadbeat photography assistant brought nothing to the table. Mom says you're a deadbeat, Emma's younger cousin announced, appearing suddenly beside them. What's a deadbeat? Emma looked mortified. Rebecca felt heat rise to her face, but kept her voice steady. That's not a kind word to use about anyone, she told the child gently. But Grandma said it, the boy insisted. She said you can't even afford a proper house. Other conversations had quieted, attention turning their way. Rebecca saw Catherine's horrified expression not at the sentiment, but at being overheard. Something shifted in Rebecca. 2 years of restraint, of dignified silence, of protecting other people's impressions, it all suddenly felt pointless. Emma, would you get my phone from my purse, please? Rebecca asked quietly. When Emma returned with the phone, Rebecca pulled up her banking app. She took a deep breath, then turned to Catherine. I've respected your family's privacy during and after the divorce, she said evenly. I've never corrected your assumptions about my finances or capabilities, but I won't allow Emma to hear me called a deadbeat. She turned her phone screen toward the room. The 7-figure balance displayed prominently. This is one of several accounts, Rebecca continued in the stunned silence. I built a business that now employs 11 people and serves clients internationally. I've chosen our current lifestyle deliberately while building security for Emma's future. The room remained frozen. David's face had drained of color. Catherine's mouth opened and closed wordlessly. I don't need or want anything from this family, Rebecca concluded, except respect when speaking about me to my daughter. Emma squeezed her hand under the tabala, silent gesture of solidarity that meant everything. Well, Catherine finally managed. I'm sure we're all very impressed with your little internet business. Rebecca smiled, the condescension sliding off her like water. Thank you for hosting today. Emma, are you ready to go? As they prepared to leave, David approached, asking for a private word. Rebecca declined politely, but firmly. Anything regarding Emma, we can discuss over email, she said. Anything else, there's nothing to discuss. Walking to the car, Emma was uncharacteristically quiet. Are you okay? Rebecca asked gently. Emma nodded slowly. That was pretty awesome, Mom. Rebecca laughed, tension dissolving. It probably wasn't the most mature response. No, Emma grinned. It was perfect. The silence in the car lasted until they turned onto the highway, leaving the manicured Hamilton neighborhood behind. Then, Emma burst into giggles. Did you see Grandma's face? I thought her eyebrows were going to fly off. Rebecca couldn't help laughing too, the tension of the afternoon dissolving. I probably shouldn't have done that. Why not? They were being mean, because adults should solve problems with communication, not dramatic gestures, Rebecca explained, though she couldn't entirely regret her actions. Emma grew quiet again, looking out the window. I knew, knew what, sweetie? That you were doing well with your business. Emma turned to face her mother. I didn't know exactly how well, but I knew it was good. I heard you talking to your team sometimes. Rebecca was surprised. Why didn't you say anything? Emma shrugged. You didn't, so I thought maybe it was a secret. And ... She hesitated. I kind of liked that we knew something Dad and the Hamiltons didn't. Rebecca reached over to squeeze her daughter's hand. I never meant to burden you with secrets. It wasn't a burden. It was like, our superpower. Everyone thought we were barely getting by, but really, we were winning. Emma smiled. I told Tara at school that my mom is secretly rich but lives like a regular person because she's undercover. Rebecca laughed. Not exactly rich or undercover, just secure. Why didn't you tell Dad? Or buy a fancy house or car like he has? Rebecca considered the question carefully, partly because I didn't want to create more conflict during a difficult time, but mostly because I wanted to build something sustainable without distractions. Material things, fancy houses, expensive cars there. Nice, but they don't bring real security or happiness. Emma nodded thoughtfully. Like Dad, he has all that stuff, but he seems sad a lot. They drove in comfortable silence for several minutes before Emma spoke again. So what happens now? Are we still going to live in the apartment? Would you like to move? Rebecca asked. Maybe. I like our neighborhood, but my bedroom is kind of small. Emma looked at her mother. Could we get a house with a backyard? For a dog, maybe. Rebecca smiled. I think that's definitely possible, but not a mansion like Grandma's, right? Those are weird and echoey. Definitely not a mansion. Rebecca agreed. Something that feels like us. When they arrived home, Emma disappeared into her room while Rebecca made tea, mentally replaying the afternoon's events. She didn't regret standing up for herself, but she wondered about the ripple effects her revelation would create. Emma emerged with a folded paper, placing it before Rebecca at the kitchen table. What's this? Rebecca asked, opening it to find a childish but detailed drawing. It's my dream house, Emma explained. I've been working on it for a while. The drawing showed a modest home with a wraparound porch, a large tree with a swing, and a fenced yard with a dog. Most touching was the detail in the upper corner, 2 stick figures labeled, "Just Us." Rebecca felt tears forming. It's perfect. Like our life, Mom, Emma said seriously. Even before I knew about the money stuff. I like that you're happy now and not stressed all the time. I like that we do things together. Rebecca pulled her daughter into a hug, realizing that the true victory wasn't the financial success she'd built, or even the satisfaction of finally revealing it. The real victory was sitting right here, this perceptive, resilient child who had seen and understood far more than Rebecca had realized. I like our life too, Rebecca whispered. And it's only going to get better. That night, as Emma slept, Rebecca began researching neighborhoods with good schools, homes with backyards, and most importantly local shelters, where they might find the perfect dog to complete their dream home. 6 months later, Rebecca stood on the porch of their new home, watching Emma and their rescue dog, Biscuit, play in the fenced backyard. The house wasn't extravagant, a charming 4-bedroom craftsman in a family-friendly neighborhood with excellent schools, but it was entirely theirs, purchased outright with no mortgage. The move had brought welcome changes. Emma's bedroom was twice the size of her old one, painted the exact shade of blue she'd selected. The home office accommodated Rebecca's occasional in-person work while keeping her business separate from their living space. Most importantly, the open floor plan and warm atmosphere reflected who they were: comfortable, unpretentious, genuine. Rebecca's phone buzzed with a message from Priya. Client signed the contract. Biggest deal yet. The business continued thriving, but Rebecca's relationship with it had evolved. She now worked a strict schedule, focusing on high-level strategy, while her capable team handled daily operations. Her income had stabilized at a level that provided abundantly without requiring constant attention. The doorbell rang, and Rebecca welcomed Margot from Sweet Crumb Bakery, her first client, now a dear friend. The place looks amazing, Margot declared, handing Rebecca a box of pastries. So different from your apartment, but not too different, Rebecca smiled. Just expanded. They settled in the kitchen as Emma raced in with Biscuit, both breathless from play. Can I show Margot my room? Emma asked, already pulling the older woman's hand. When they returned, Margot shook her head in amazement. You've come so far from that desperate young woman who offered to work for free. Speaking of which, Rebecca said, I wanted to run something by you. She outlined her newest project, a foundation providing grants, mentorship, and resources to single mothers starting businesses. The seed funding had come from Rebecca's own accounts, but she'd already secured matching funds from several corporate partners. "I'd love for you to be on the advisory board," Rebecca concluded. "You took a chance on me when I was just starting. Other women deserve that same chance." Margot agreed immediately, adding, "Your ex-husband called me, asked about your business, how you built it so quickly." Rebecca raised an eyebrow. "What did you tell him?" "That some people talk about doing things while others quietly get them done." Margot grinned. He didn't appreciate the distinction. After Margot left, Rebecca received another visitor, Jenny, the foundation's first grant recipient. A single mother of two, Jenny was building a bookkeeping service for small businesses. "I've prepared the materials you suggested," Jenny said, nervously, spreading papers across the dining table. "But I'm still not sure about the pricing structure." Rebecca recognized her younger self in Jenny's mixture of determination and uncertainty. For the next hour, she reviewed Jenny's business plan, offering suggestions and encouragement. "Remember," Rebecca advised, "build systems from the beginning. Your time is your most valuable asset, more valuable than money." As Jenny prepared to leave, Emma appeared, curious about their conversation. "Mom's really good at helping people build businesses," Emma informed Jenny, seriously. "She built hers when everyone thought she couldn't." Jenny smiled. "Your mom is quite the inspiration." After dinner, Rebecca and Emma sat on their porch swing, watching the sunset. Biscuit dozed at their feet. "Are you happy we moved, Mom?" Emma asked. "Very happy," Rebecca confirmed. "But you know what? I think I would have been happy in the apartment too, as long as we were together." Emma leaned against her mother's shoulder. "Me too. But I like having Biscuit, and a yard. And not hearing Mrs. Kapoor's TV through the wall." Rebecca laughed. "Fair points." As darkness fell, Rebecca reflected on the journey of the past 2 years, from desperate side hustle to thriving business, from financial anxiety to abundance, from hiding her success to using it to create opportunity for others. The money had changed their circumstances, but not their essence. They remained grounded, authentic, and connected to what truly mattered. "Mom," Emma's voice was sleepy, "I'm proud of you." The simple words held more value than any account balance ever could. This was the true wealth Rebecca had built, not measured in dollars, but in moments, growth, and the knowledge that her daughter had witnessed firsthand the power of resilience. "I'm proud of us," Rebecca whispered back, grateful for both the journey and the destination. As stars appeared above their new home, Rebecca felt a sense of completion. The hustle had served its purpose. Now began the most rewarding chapter, using what she'd built to lift others while savoring the life she and Emma had created together. If you've been underestimated or faced challenges that seemed insurmountable, remember Rebecca's journey. Sometimes the quietest hustles build the most powerful futures. Share your own comeback stories below, and subscribe for more tales that will inspire you to build your own success, one determined step at a time.